Thumpers, welcome back to another episode of Hyper Heroes here on Hyper RPG. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Lots of love in the last 3 episodes. We're glad to be back our last 4 episodes.
Yeah.
Guys, make sure you guys are going back to the previous videos, dropping a like, leaving a comment down below, letting us know how you feel about the topics that we discuss on the show. Your likes and your comments, your interaction, you guys sharing the show is how we keep this show alive here on Hyper RPG.
That last episode where I was Jay was lit. That was so lit.
It was great.
It was so good.
Jay came in. He guested for you while you were, vacationing a little
Doing
bit,
stuff.
doing some
Climbing
fun
mountains.
shit.
That dude likes to talk.
Yeah.
It's
That
which is
show
awesome.
was an hour and a half long.
Yeah,
Which
it was
is
a good
awesome.
time.
Yeah.
We had a really, really
thanks
good
again
time.
to Jay. But great to
Yeah.
have you back, man.
Yeah,
How was your
buddy. I
trip?
appreciate it. It was great.
Yeah.
I climbed a mountain, then I climbed Machu Picchu, and then I forgot your guys' souvenirs. So sorry
Whatever,
about it.
man.
They
They
were
were much
little-
put you
they were
together.
little
That'll be the souvenir.
superhero finger puppets.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
Interesting,
awesome.
Sorry,
interesting.
guys. But maybe when we go back.
That's
Yeah,
the
we
reach
gotta
that
go.
superheroes have in the world.
Exactly.
Yeah, they were all over the place over there.
Really?
They like guinea pigs over there because they eat guinea pigs.
Oh,
And
cool.
there was a shirt that was spider guinea pig man
Oh, really?
thing. It was pretty
That's
funny.
hilarious.
Yeah.
That's
what-
great.
Guys, before we
Anyways.
get going, I want to remind you that we are doing the monthly Hyperdrive here on Hyper RPG. We're doing it starting at 11 o'clock on Saturday morning.
Tomorrow.
When you're watching this on Friday. We're going to be doing a whole day of things. We're going to be doing RPGs. We're going to be doing improv, sketches. What else are we doing?
Oh man, I have to. So speaking of RPGs, I have to point this out.
Yes.
From 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. tomorrow
Groot.
Pacific. Guardians of the Galaxy. Are you in officially? Are you in?
I might be. All
All right. Guess what? Adam's playing Groot in a Guardians of the Galaxy role-playing game for 2 hours.
Yeah.
It's going to be GM'd, which is game mastered by Burt Jennings, who does the Pencils and Parsecs Star
Yes.
Wars.
Yep.
And this dude, I dumped a bunch of Guardians comics and books and stuff so that he could like research for the past week writing this thing, and he's jazzed about it.
Is he really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
There's some cool stories that they're
Yeah.
cooking
You guys
up.
got the Guardians on there. Are you going to
Yeah.
have any Celestials? Are you going to have any
No
craziness?
spoilers. No spoilers.
I'm going to say this. It's going to take place in the movie universe.
Okay.
We're calling it Guardians of the Galaxy 2.5.
Ooh.
Volume
okay.
2.5. I'm coming up
Okay.
with. I'm helping Bert with the story. We're collaborating on it together,
Okay.
and there may be some great comic references to some stuff that we haven't seen in movies yet.
So
That's all I'm gonna
James
say.
Gunn, you better be watching.
You
You
better-
get ideas for the next
better
movie.
tweet at James Gunn.
Give you all
I'm just
all your
saying.
ideas
You
for
think
Volume
we
3.
should just try to get James Gunn to come be a part
Well,
of that.
I
thing.
mean, obviously. But
Guys, but we're going to be doing that all day starting on Saturday, 11 a.m., twitch.tv/hyperrpg. Then on Sunday,
Yeah, because that's not enough, Adam. We need more Adam. What happens
that's
Sunday?
not enough. That's not enough. On Sunday, we're coming back, rift.tv/hyperrpg. We are doing an all-day marathon of Marvel's The Defenders, the entire first season. You have watched the majority of the show now,
Yeah, I
right?
have 1 episode to go, but I'll
One
have
episode to
seen
go.
the whole
Wow.
thing. Have you seen any of it?
no.
I love it.
I haven't
I
either.
love it.
Yeah.
I'm currently catching up on Iron Fist. Not as bad as everyone says it is.
It's a terrible show.
It's all right.
Terrible
You
show.
know what's great
it's
is,
so,
is how
meh.
much you guys are gonna like Iron Fist Danny Rand in the Defenders more
God, I hope
than in his
so.
own show. Like,
God, I
like
hope so.
he's still not the best character in the Defenders,
Yeah,
but what they
right.
did, it's impressive. That's all I'm
Okay.
gonna say. It's
Okay.
like I was
All right,
like,
all right.
damn, okay,
little
that's
redeeming,
impressive.
little redeeming. That's good. That's
a
good.
lot of redeeming.
Oh,
well,
good.
I mean, I don't know,
Don't
whatever. Just,
overhype it.
okay,
Don't
yeah,
overhype
exactly.
it.
Yeah, it's for real.
lot of
'cause
work.
That my bar's real low right now, Hector.
All I'm saying is that you watch that show and it's like, hey, show your work. You can see the work. That's all I'm saying. You can see
All
the
right,
work
okay,
that they put into trying to make
Oh.
him better.
All right, that makes
Did
me
he
feel a
take
little
more
better.
than 6 months of martial arts training?
I think so.
Okay.
Ooh,
Okay.
all
There's
right,
some,
improvement.
there's some
We're
good
doing that
kung
on
fu.
Sunday. We're starting that at 10 a.m. rift.tv/hyperrpg. Make sure you guys are here for that. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. But now it is time to get into some heroic news. It has been a very interesting 48 hours in the DC Extended
Very
Universe.
spicy.
Very spicy. A lot of things have been happening. I was in the middle of a meeting when I read this first story that Martin Scorsese and Todd Phillips are joining forces to make a Joker origin story.
That's crazy to
That
me.
will
Martin
not
Scorsese.
be set
Martin Scorsese.
in the DC Extended Universe. So I guess
Okay.
what the concept is that DC is essentially going to be creating another brand of their film division, which is going to be telling, I guess we can call it Elseworld stories. Stories
mean,
that don't take place in the
one-offs.
main continuity.
I really hope
Exactly.
that they call it that too. I
DC
think that would be
Elseworlds?
really smart branding.
would be. It would
because that's what the comics are, and it's really smart branding. I think DC
Yeah.
Elseworlds. It says it all right there.
It does.
You know?
It does. Todd
It's-
Phillips is
yeah.
apparently going to co-write the script with Scott Silver, who wrote 8 Mile. He's also supposedly going to be directing this. Scorsese will obviously produce. And basically what they're saying is that the movie is going to be a gritty and grounded, hard-boiled crime film set in the early 80s of Gotham City. Gritty and grounded, quote unquote. That's something that we hear all the time.
It's
with
probably
a lot
going to
of
be
these
rated
superhero
R.
movies.
It's probably going to be rated R.
Probably.
Yeah.
It's initially when I heard this news, I wasn't very excited about it. To me, it was like, you haven't even really established your entire DC extended universe, your proper universe where all of these major characters are going to be sharing the silver screen.
Sure.
Why are you going to now all of a sudden do an offshoot brand?
Oh, you know why?
Of course.
You know why?
Of course.
You know why?
Oh, it's going to get so heated in this conversation. But it's so interesting to me that they would choose to do this, especially with a character like the Joker. If you were to tell me we're going to do an Elseworlds movie that was about Hawkman or Plastic Man, I know as much as we want to see those characters in the Justice League.
Sure.
I know a lot of people do. But I would be more accepting of it. Even at this point, even if they said Justice League Dark, we're going to do those characters in Elseworlds story. Fine. Joker to me is very interesting because, first of all, the origin of the Joker has never really been fully established. We've gotten variations of it. In The Killing Joke, we had a variation of it, which is based on an old comic book from the 1950s, where he was the Red Hood. So I'm kind of curious to see if you have someone like Martin Scorsese coming in to produce this, which is huge. And we've always kind of heard that Warner Brothers wants to be a director studio. They want directors to come in, and they want those directors to make the movies that they want to do. So if that's the case, I don't really know if Scorsese was necessarily the one who came into Warner Brothers and said, I would like to work on one of your movies, unless they saw an opportunity where they could kind of go to Martin Scorsese and say, we would love to work with you. Is there a character in our DC pantheon of heroes and villains that you would like to explore?
And by the way, here's a fat check.
Right? It's
there.
that, and it's also, I feel like, him saying, I'll do it, but I want to make it my way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't see, like, I love Martin Scorsese movies. I love some Martin Scorsese movies. They're some of the greatest films ever made, and he's one of the greatest directors ever.
Absolutely.
But I don't see Martin Scorsese in the same way I don't see Steven Spielberg. In the same way, I don't see some of these all-time directors going to a studio like this, whether it's Warner Brothers or Disney or Sony or whatever, and being like, I want to make a superhero movie here. I want to make a comic book movie. I don't see Martin Scorsese saying that about the Joker. Like, I don't see that happening. It seems as if this is... It's so interesting because it seems as if it's kind of a safe bet because the Joker is a very popular character.
Yeah.
It seems like a safe bet in the same way that, like, the Venom movie happening at Sony seems like a safe bet on paper because Venom is a very popular character who sells a lot of merchandise.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like,
Totally.
but it doesn't jump out as something that's like creatively. But the Joker and Venom are very different creatively, and the Joker absolutely has stories centered around him.
Yeah.
Can have stories told about him centered around him without Batman. I know people were already scoffing at that notion, but I think that we've had this conversation before. The reason that some of those stories work so well is because they are plugged into a comic book history that is 70 plus years long, where there has been countless Batman v Joker stories that you get to like, well, let's pause and let's focus on him for a little bit. But comic books are, even the one-offs, even something like The Killing Joke, which is full of Batman. It's bookended by Batman, you know? Even something like The Killing Joke, it works because after The Killing Joke came out, there was monthly Batman comics and the story went on. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's like, it's different from movies, and to me, it also seems like it could have been the studio saying, we want to work with you. We have an idea to do this. We feel like this character would be right up your alley. And as a way to not burden you, it's not connected to any continuity. And again, the thing I am frustrated about is that I feel like I have to defend my love of continuity, which seems silly because like I'm a comic book fan and y'all are comic book fans and a lot of people making these movies are comic book fans, and it's not the most important thing, but one of the coolest things about these universes that are so long lived is like the interaction between the different characters for certain times when it's appropriate. It seems like every time I defend, like, you know, things should be connected. It's not that hard. It seems like I'm saying that should be the most important thing. I'm not. Obviously, the most important thing, good movie, good story, good acting, you know, right? But to me, all of that other stuff is not difficult for me to do. Do you see what I'm saying?
What you're saying, Hector, because to you, the continuity matters just as much as it being a good story. Like, to you, those elements are very important to telling the good story. Yeah. Because you know the history, because of everything.
It's good.
Like
it's
that.
world building.
And
it's
I
world building
understand
for me.
that 100%.
Sure.
Yeah. So my thought on this, hear me out. I'm not happy about this. Okay. Obviously, the Joker is a character based in chaos. You cannot tell his story completely, or you lose a little bit of the mythos of Joker when you go and explain like, oh, well, he was this guy. But hear me out. What if we play sort of like an Inception angle? Sort of like if the movie, by the end of the movie, you realize, was that really it? Because
Right.
that's how Joker, at least in the Nolan Batman, sees his past. Because he's a question mark. He gives people all different stories about what exactly happened.
So the
to
narrative
him.
could do that itself.
So how about have a movie, since the Joker is essentially chaos? How about the theme of the movie be chaos all the way around?
Yeah.
So maybe there's different offshoots of the same story, and we can never tell really which one is it. So it's an exploration of somebody who's fucking mentally crazy, and we come out of it having explored sort of that personality, but not really come out with any answers.
That could happen. And if anybody could do it, it's probably producer
what I'm saying.
Martin Scorsese. Like, for sure.
Yeah.
That could happen.
It's
I
very
also
possible.
I also think that even within the Elseworlds like brand, if they were to make, for example, Superman Red Sun, right? The Superman that
Jordan
was
Vogt Roberts, there was like
he pitched it.
he was pitching
He pitched it. The Superman who was born and raised in Russia as an enemy of the United States. Like, that's an amazing concept, right?
Yeah,
Mark Miller came up with it. So great. If they were to do that as a movie, I would feel kind of honestly cheated if they didn't get Henry Cavill to play that, because that's part of the thing is when you read that comic book, it is,
It's
you
the
know,
same Superman.
every different artist's
Yeah.
rendering is always going to look different, but
Sure.
essentially they're trying to draw the same character,
Right,
who,
right.
if he were real, would look like the same guy.
Yeah.
Right.
So, which is cool when you read like some comic book written by Jeff Johns, where the art is by Gary Frank. He kind of draws it Christopher Reeve.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
totally.
there's some of that element of like, oh, cool. So I would be kind of cheated if it wasn't Henry Cavill, just to explore the idea with the strong visual aspect of, no, this is Superman.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
So for me, even
make
with
that
this,
connection.
for them to go out of their way and say, with different actors playing the iconic characters, I'm kind of like, look, however you feel about Jared Leto, that's who y'all hired. That's who y'all
That's
hired. To, like,
Joker.
that's Joker. That's your Joker. And Jared Leto's a fantastic actor. And I didn't love him in Suicide Squad, and I didn't love that movie, but he is a great actor. And if imagine if Jared Leto, the actor, got to play a well-written Joker in a, do you see what I'm saying?
Like
And it's
in
like,
an 80s
we
Gotham
were
and
so
City.
excited
and that's
when
not
we first saw
Totally.
him.
that's
Yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
crazy. And
Right.
so a part of me is going, it seems like it's a way to react, like it's a way to react to the reactionary internet, which goes, oh, we don't like that guy. And then for the studio to go, okay, well, we're going to like, I'm kind of like,
Right.
stick to your
Dancing
gun.
around
I'm a
it.
little bit like, stick to your guns.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
single person you cast should be the person that
I
you cast.
agree.
You know what I'm
I agree
saying?
100%. That you know what? We need to give Jared Leto. I think if we're doing this Elseworld thing, there's no better character to do Elseworlds, because you can say, well, that was just one possibility that the Joker
Right.
could be. So let's give Jared a chance, because I don't feel that he was given a good chance
In an
Suicide
alternate,
Squad.
like it's like the thing of like in alternate universes, those characters still look like those characters. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Spock was still Leonard Nimoy, but with a goatee.
Right.
Like they still look. So in an alternate
Grant
universe,
Gustin is still Flash in alternate
in
universes.
Earth
Right.
3,
Barry
in Earth
Allen.
4,
Right. It's still the
exactly.
same
So in some
per
alternate
actor.
universe where Joker was the Joker in the early '80s, he might still be Jared Leto,
Yeah.
and that's not.
I mean,
I guess the counter argument to that is, I think the worry from a lot of fans and probably from the studio too is general audiences will be extremely confused if they go and they watch Man of Steel 2 or Justice League or whatever and has Henry Cavill Superman.
Yeah.
And then 8, 9, 10 months later they go back into the theater and they're watching a Superman who crash lands in Russia and is raised by Russians and is the the
Henry
opponent of
Cavill?
the United States, and it's Henry Cavill. They're going to be like, I thought this Superman was.
I get that,
what?
but here's the thing. I get that, but here's the thing. You got to train your audience, because that's the same problem with comic books.
that's what I'm saying.
People that don't read comic books, if you walk into a comic book store, they will be confused. They'll pick up
absolutely.
Batman Beyond. They'll pick up Batman. They'll pick up a Nightwing comic.
But
they'll
I think
pick up,
I think the opposite end of that, though, I think part of that also is what the comic book companies have done to constantly go back, reset the continuity, reset
of course,
the continuity,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
And movies are rebooted all the time. I know
Yeah.
for a fact. I have a friend who went to go see the new Spider-Man movie and was confused that it wasn't Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
Okay, like that seems insane to me, because I'm like, wait, how do you not know Tom Holland? Despite that
Right.
seems insane to me. That is not uncommon for regular ass people who go to the movies and don't give a shit about the stuff we give a shit
Right,
about.
right,
But
right.
I'm saying, so you have two audiences. You have those people who don't give a shit,
Uh-huh.
and they might be confused, but who cares?
Right.
They went to go see your movie, or they're going to go see your movie, or they're not going to go. And then you have the people who, like us, will know every single thing about it, and we know how to use Wikipedia.
Right.
I'm saying train your audience, and if you're going to do offshoots with the same actors, you need to have a prologue that's narrated and explains like
Not
there are
even-
Elseworlds,
Not
there
even
are alternate
that.
universe.
Just
You know,
a clever marketing campaign.
Yeah.
Just really, really highlight
what
the
if
fact
the
this is-
Joker?
Exactly. Elseworlds. You hit that Elseworlds name hard and tell
Good
people
marketing.
right away that no,
Thank you.
this is not the regular thing you're used to seeing. But also you have to think about, because I find it really weird when I run into people who aren't comic book fans.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, what? You don't watch? Oh,
where are you from?
What? Like you don't watch Stars? It doesn't register to me.
Yeah.
And so to them, having a character change might not be as important as we find it. Having an actor change because they don't really care in the first place. They're just gonna go watch the movie, and if it's good, it's good. If it's not, it's not.
We're used to it. We're used to it in even the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Hulk is not Edward Norton anymore.
Yeah.
Rhodey is not Terrence Howard anymore. Like
and
really,
the world did not blow up.
It's really not a big deal. But I'm saying that like if you can, I just don't want it to seem like a reactionary, thing, or like the movie came out and Jared Leto didn't like how the movie turned out, so he's like, no, I'm out. It's like I don't want that. I want everybody to sort of stick to their guns and support each other with the casting and everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's all.
And I guess the only other, not a problem, but I think another thing that could potentially kind of backfire is if you have these two different versions of the Joker. You have Jared Leto's Joker, you have this new 80s style Joker, and then people gravitate and love that Joker more. That audience
What do you do?
That audience is going to be like, why can't we have that Joker in the DC extended universe? So it's like it's a kind of a tough thing to balance.
It invites comparison.
It does.
It invites
absolutely
comparison, and it could invite
You're challenging
competition
your
and
own brand.
You're splitting up your own audience
Yeah.
potentially.
Yeah.
It could do that.
I prefer the Elseworlds stories. I prefer the DCEU. And it's like, no. You should be enjoying all of
Tell
these
an
movies.
Elseworlds story. Tell one-offs, but with not popular characters. Get a Booster Gold movie in there. See how audiences react to that one. You maybe don't have to throw all the money in the world at it like people tend to do. Get a good story out and then see how people react to it.
I think conceptually, I think that's probably what they're going to try to do. Is they're going to try to do these Elseworld stories that even though they feature characters like Joker, hopefully, at least I would imagine that they would try to make it on a smaller budget to kind of test the waters and see how does it work.
What I'm saying.
And I kind of would have gone the route that you're suggesting. I would have done characters that maybe are not as well known. A Hawkman, a Booster Gold, a Blue Beetle. Some of these characters that they could make for a lower budget, make it in its own universe. Because for the longest time, we weren't sure if Shazam was even going to be in the DC extending universe.
Exactly.
And I think even that movie, it's going to have a pretty big budget because of the concept.
Yeah.
Sure.
But I think it'll still be lower than what
I agree.
the Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman movies are being made for.
I think they're taking the wrong first step here. I wish they would start off with like a Lobo movie.
Yeah, Lobo, man.
Like, let's get Lobo out there. Let's give Deadpool a little bit of a competition.
I love
start Elseworlds that way.
I love a lot of the talent involved in this, but there is a part of me that's still kind of like, guys, there's other characters other than Batman and his villains.
Yeah.
Like, I love the Joker.
And that's the thing.
but-
They seem like they're really doubling down on the Batman universe, which is like great for people who love Batman, but it's not so great for people like us who've been waiting to see the Martian Manhunters and Green Lanterns and all these kind of characters. So
Absolutely.
I went on Twitter and I asked people because the day that this broke, it was such a crazy conundrum of people talking about it. So I asked you guys to tweet me and let me know kind of what your thoughts were on this. So I'm just going to read through a few really quick. C Spider MX says the whole point of the Joker is that he has no origin. Shake my head. Colt Bedeau says do we need an origin without its main hero? It's like doing a Venom movie. Oh wait. Ronan Unchained says I wouldn't oppose a Joker origin, but I don't need it. The focus should be on the classic characters. The focus should be on other classic characters like Hawkgirl and Kyle Rayner. Jason Ward from Making Star Wars says, I want this movie now. Dev says, lots of great stories to adapt, but I don't see why they don't make it connect to the rest of the universe. JT Meredith says, I'm all for Scorsese Joker's origin movie if Joe Pesci plays Old Man Joker.
Oh, snap.
And EJ Christ.
What am I, like a clown to you? Yes. Yes, you are.
Yes, you are literally dressed like a clown.
EJ says, so excited. I hope it's a little bit of the Killing Joke backstory with the story of Brian Azzarello's iconic Joker novel. So I think the reaction from what I personally saw, it was a lot less people were enthusiastic about it, but the people who were enthusiastic about it
We're stoked,
still were excited, but they also brought maybe a little bit more as to why they were excited, what the potential could be. Because again, Warner Brothers wants to be a filmmaker studio. Could this work?
Yeah, man. The way Augie pitched it,
I'm rooting for it.
It could be. It could be amazing. It could be great. It could be rated R. It could be just for adults. It could be all that cool shit. But I think it's
but
just
you're
it's,
starting off with the wrong character.
it's just
Sorry.
it's just looking at the bigger picture stuff.
Yeah.
We just want other characters. I feel like I love
Exactly.
Plastic Man, and everybody shits on him.
Plastic Man is dope, dude.
Oh man.
Plastic Man is dope.
So keeping on the trend of Joker, because one Joker movie wasn't enough, two weren't enough.
Dang.
Maybe a third one is being announced. The creators of This Is Us, they're the executive producers.
Wait, what are the first two? It's the Scorsese one.
The Joker. So we have the Joker origin story, Gotham City Sirens.
That's right. That's right.
And then we have potentially this Joker Harley team up movie, which is supposed to be coming from Glenn Ficarra and John Requa, who are the directors and EPs of This Is Us a series that's now on NBC. It just wrapped up its first season, second season starting soon. A lot of Emmy buzz. It's a really, really, really great show. Actually,
And they
Sterling
did
K. Brown
Crazy
is
Stupid
in it.
Love.
Yes, they did Crazy Stupid
I
Love.
love
as well.
Crazy Stupid Love, y'all. I have that on Blu-ray. I legitimately love Crazy Stupid Love.
So interesting thing about this movie, unlike the Joker origin movie, this will be set in the DC Extended Universe. Jared Leto, Margot Robbie are apparently set to return. A lot of people were speculating whether or not this was going to be a Gotham City Sirens replacement movie because at the look at this.
She just did a backflip.
She ain't happy. She ain't happy.
Black Canary's like, am I in it? I should be in it. Backflip.
I think initially when this came out, there were conflicting reports whether or not this was replacing Gotham City Sirens, whether or not David Ayer was in or out. There's been a lot of conflict apparently with David Ayer because of some of the comments he made at Comic-Con at the Bright panel about Warner Brothers and how he preferred working with Netflix more or less because they're a studio who actually lets the filmmaker make their movies. So I don't think that's out too well with Warner Brothers. So I think right now with the position that Gotham City Sirens in, it's a little unclear. It's a little unclear if it's still happening. It's a little unclear if David Ayer is still making it. But according to several sources, this movie is not a replacement for it. It is in addition to, and this movie, apparently this Joker Harley team-up movie is going to be produced sometime after the Suicide Squad 2, after the Suicide Squad sequel. So it will not come out till, who knows, maybe won't come out till in 2019, 2020. The movie is described as a criminal love story, an insane and twisted love story, when Harry met Sally on Benzedrine, which I don't know what that is. Sounds terrifying and
sounds
terrible.
like it'll get you fucked up.
Probably just a scotch.
Look, this is all I'm going to say about this movie is that I really like Crazy Stupid Love. I heard This Is Us is great. Out of all of the projects that have been announced, I feel like this is the one that I'm really not interested in because I feel like everything that you could do with these two characters, especially coming from Suicide Squad, which was a really toxic relationship that a lot of people called it out. Harley Quinn has evolved since her comic book origins, and people were saying, well, you got to start there. It's like, well, you could have ended in a different place. I think that everything you could do with those characters could be done in Gotham City Sirens. And by that, I mean you focus on Harley Quinn teaming up with Poison Ivy, Catwoman, and have Joker be an element, but have it be the definitive ending of that toxic relation. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm everything I think that could be in this could kind of be in the same way that they were going to make a solo Magneto movie, but then they just sort of put that in X-Men First Class. I'm you could put some of those scenes of this when Harry met Sally on drugs in a Gotham City Sirens, but then kind of evolve the story. I don't necessarily want to sit in this world of Bonnie and Clyde and they're super fucked up and they're going to sell more stuff at Hot Topic. I don't want to sit there for another 2 hours.
It was a Mr. and Mrs. Smith movie, and I'm I don't know. I don't really know if I need that. I especially know I'm not going to need it if I'm going to have a Joker origin story, connected or not. I'm not going to need I'm not going to need a Suicide Squad sequel that will likely have Harley Quinn in it again. And on top of that, a Gotham City Sirens movie that's supposed to focus on Harley Quinn, Catwoman, Poison Ivy, and have Joker in there in some shape or form. Again, it's that whole thing that we talked about just a few moments ago. They are mining Batman for every single penny that they can.
Absolutely.
And I get it. Batman is the most profitable character at DC Comics right now. He is the guy.
Of all time. Yeah.
Of all time.
Yeah.
But there are now, if you're building a DC extended universe where you have all these characters that we see in the intro every time we watch Wonder Woman, bank on that. Use those characters.
All these steps seem so misguided to me. I don't understand who is looking at this and not realizing that these characters are part of a bigger universe.
Right.
You look at the Joker. The Joker works really well because he has the counterpart of Batman. The Joker, nobody has looked at a Joker and Harley story and been quintessential Joker. That's what we need right there. It is a story element. They really did it well in Batman the Animated Series, in which they had this really, really fucked up Joker and Harley interaction. And if you go and watch it now, it's really fucked up. I saw clips on YouTube where I'm like, oh, this is terrible.
Isn't he hitting her with a fish and stuff?
Yeah, he smacks her with a mallet, and you can tell she's obviously depressed, but she still follows him.
Yeah,
because she's messed up. She's got that Stockholm syndrome. Yep. And I feel that they should take a cue from that and from how it's been in the comics. It's not trying to glorify their Bonnie and Clyde relationship, which is really not something people should be striving for.
Remember how
I don't understand it.
Remember how the movie Wonder Woman kind of led up to this moment where she goes across no man's land, and it was the moment of the film. Imagine if a story, a movie, the whole thing was building up to Harley Quinn saying no to this guy. Do you see what I'm saying? And that could be a moment.
That could be a
so
moment.
it's I'm either doing the silver lining pitch for how this could be a good idea, or I'm just saying, but put that in a Gotham City Sirens film. Put that in Suicide Squad 2, because that could also be a moment. But you just do kind of have to sit through shit misery for an hour and a half before you get to that. You know, it's the pursuit of happiness. An hour and 55 minutes of misery for Will Smith. 5 minutes to go, you got the job, and him go like, It's like, you gotta,
you know, I absolutely love that story, and I would watch the shit out of that movie. But given how much bat burnout we might experience with all this Joker, I don't think they're looking at it that way. I really don't.
And that's the thing that worries me is I want to be equally excited for the Joker origin story, Gotham City Sirens, Suicide Squad 2. And this team up movie, but I don't want to be burned out. I don't want to get 3-4 years down the line and look at this universe and go, it's only Batman.
Right.
Where's the Green Lantern Corps? Where's Cyborg? Which are still slated to come out at some point. But like, I would rather have those movies first.
Exactly.
And a Man of Steel sequel before I get another Joker movie, another Harley movie, another Batman movie. I'm excited for Nightwing and I'm excited for Batgirl. But again, it's like, give me more of something that's different.
I don't know why people aren't taking my idea of doing shorts. Like, do little tiny character shorts before the movies. They work. Pixar has proved that over and over.
That would
be
awesome.
Wouldn't it be amazing?
That would be really great.
A little Plastic Man short. We get a Hawkman short. We get a Martian Manhunter short. We get a Blue Beetle. We get a Booster Gold short.
A weird Doom Patrol in front of a Justice League movie.
Like,
people are like, who are they?
Team ups, and I would be so excited.
Yeah.
I would love it if some were animated and some were live action. Like if you knew you were getting a Shazam movie. Like, we know we're getting one in 2019.
Yeah.
Why not put something before Aquaman?
Oh, yeah.
Kind of how, like, Christopher Nolan, you know, when he would put out the prologues for the Dark Knight movies before,
IMAX,
you know, other movies. Just do that. Give us a little snippet. And it doesn't have to be anything from the movie.
No.
Yeah.
Give us an introduction to Billy Batson, like, your own kind of, like, short-form spin on it.
I mean,
really
I hate to compare, but Taika Waititi with the Thor shorts, I was more hyped for this movie because of those shorts.
Sure.
You know?
Sure.
Like, give us
because it gives you a flavor of what to expect.
Exactly.
And that's what's so great.
Exactly. Like, we get a flavor of the director, we get a flavor of what the movie might be like.
Yeah, man, because like at the end of the day, with everything we're going to talk about, including this next topic, like all of this is just wait and see. Yeah. We can talk about these people, these producers, these writers, directors, their work, and we can kind of talk about what some of the flavor is of those projects. But at the end of the day, it's not the flavor of this specific thing that they're announcing.
It is very wait and see, Hector. But I think Warner Brothers should hire us three to write and evolve the
Everyone in the comments will be like, don't hire these Marvel fuck boys. Don't hire these Marvel fuck boys. At the end of the day, for me, I'm excited for all of these DC movies. I just hope that as a fan and a consumer of these films that the characters that I love, that I've come to love since I was a kid, that they're done justice.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, even if it's a movie where I find flaws in it and there are things about it that I don't like, if the characters are done, if they do the characters in the most respectful way possible and well serviced, that really encompasses what their 70-year history kind of is, then I'm fine with it. And I don't feel like I've really gotten that just yet. I've gotten elements of it. I've seen it sprinkled throughout here and there with Batman and Superman and Joker and some of these other characters. But once we get to that point where I'm like, that's Batman, which I think we'll get hopefully in the Matt Reeves movie.
Yeah.
Speaking of Matt Reeves,
this whole thing about the Joker movies and all this kind of stuff, it really caused a whirlwind. Matt Reeves did an interview with KCRW's The Business last month while he was promoting War for the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, in July.
And in July, exactly. He was doing it with Kim Masters, and they started talking about at one point about the Batman movie. And he mentions in the movie kind of the way that Warner Brothers approached him and kind of what was the deciding factor for him for taking over this Batman movie from Ben Affleck, essentially. He says, when they approached me, what they said was, look, it's a standalone. This isn't part of the extended universe. And
bad choice of words.
Very poor choice of words.
Because I read it and I went, there's no fucking way. I read it and I think a lot of people were just like, no, he just meant
what?
It is not a Justice League film.
Right.
And unfortunately, he used the words that everybody is using to technically describe this franchise the way you use Marvel Cinematic Universe. You know, he should have said, it just won't have a bunch of cameos of other characters in it, and it'll be its own
first and foremost
standalone
a Batman movie that sits in the DCU,
centers on
but
him,
does not rely on the other characters.
So
the
it's not an ensemble movie.
That's what I thought it was, and then the way that people sort of took it and ran with it, I could kind of see how they thought that, where they were
Sure.
like, well, now that we're hearing that Ben Affleck doesn't want to be him, and this rumor,
and that's
and
interesting
the fact that the Joker
Right.
80s movie with Scorsese is not going to be a part of it either.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
maybe neither is Batman, and then Flashpoint, and all these different things. I'm like, I get that, but it seems really like it wouldn't make any sense
Right.
for Warner Brothers to hire Ben Affleck and not have him play Batman directed by Matt
Right.
Reeves.
Well, and the other thing too is, like I listened to this interview last year when it came out, and I heard that part, and it didn't. I kind of
It didn't
interpreted
throw
it how
you.
you
Sure,
did.
sure.
I kind of went, oh, okay, cool. He's just saying that it's going to be a solo Batman movie, not dependent upon any other characters, any other
Right.
storylines.
Right.
Great. And then this was on July 17th, and on July 22nd or 23rd, whatever Saturday Comic-Con was or Friday, we hear the whole thing about Ben Affleck potentially trying to find a way out. So then you, exactly like you're saying, you add that together with the Joker origin
Sure.
story. Of course, people immediately were like,
perfect
"Holy
storm,
shit!
man.
It's a perfect
Perfect
storm.
shitstorm."
Perfect shitstorm.
But so
Yeah.
Matt Reeves finally went on Twitter today. It took him some time, but he finally went on Twitter today to clarify. And he says via Twitter, "Geez, what I missed, guys. Just to be clear, of course, Batman will be part of the DC universe. Batman will be Batman. In my comments from a while back about not being part of the DCEU, I was talking about the Batman being a story specifically about Batman, not about the others in the universe. That it wouldn't be filled with cameos servicing other stories, that it would be a Batman story." And I think that's kind of what everybody wants.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've talked about it ad nauseum how we want these individual stories to be as powerful, if not more strong, than the team-up movies.
Yep.
Because if you build the solid building blocks of all these characters, you will automatically
You get payoff in the team up movies. You get
get
payoff.
more payoff. Exactly. So I'm still excited. I'm glad Matt Reeves is doing it, regardless of all my apprehensions about Warner Brothers and DC and how they are or are not running their company, which at the end of the day, nobody knows. Only Jeff Johns and John Berg and the people at Warner Brothers know.
Yeah.
They're either sitting there laughing at everybody because of everything that's been going on,
Or they're freaking out.
Or they're
because like,
freaking out.
"Whoa, what happened?"
Exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
somebody told Matt Reeves that you can say he'll be part of the DC universe, but not part of the DC extended universe, and like that shit's confusing. You
Yeah.
guys, it's
Your
branding.
DCEU is your connected
Just gotta
cinematic
get
universe.
it pitched so that people,
I think
whoever's
Yeah.
working on
Matt
this
Reeves is
stuff.
underestimating how us nerds can really nitpick the shit out of
Yeah.
everything.
Well,
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing. I
Yeah.
think nowadays, every time a story, and I find it's frustrating too, and I understand why people on the internet are frustrated. Why a lot of fans, they go after journalists, they go after people like us who they think we're journalists, we're not, but they go after us and they with a lot of hatred because they think that we are trying to fabricate these stories.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know why Warner Brothers and DC happen to be the studio that has all these leaks or
Right.
all of these things come out. I feel like it's
Yeah.
the studio that kind of suffers the most from its laundry hanging out in the wind.
Yeah.
Whereas Marvel, this sort of stuff doesn't really happen.
No.
When Patty Jenkins
No.
left Thor: The Dark World, no one really bat an eyelash.
No.
When
Well, Edgar Wright leaving was a big deal.
that was the biggest deal.
Edgar Wright
yeah,
leaving,
yeah.
I feel like, was
That
the
was a
biggest
big deal.
creative shakeup. There was some rumors that Edward Norton wasn't great to work with,
Right.
which is why he got like the recast reshuffles were definitely like big behind the scenes kerfuffles.
Yeah.
I
right?
feel like those were old though. Like recently,
Oh, yeah, they are.
We haven't heard.
But
any.
Yeah.
you know
I guess
why
the biggest
probably
thing was
recently
when
we
we're-
haven't heard
I think
anything?
the
It's
biggest
because of the
thing-
old stuff. I bet you
Right.
Disney/Marvel got that shit on lockdown.
Yeah.
It's NDAs.
Right.
It's training people like it's marketing. Like this is what you'll say. This verbiage
I
is
would
important.
not
you know.
challenge a Disney
Kevin Feige probably teaches the
NBA.
fucking class.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know, I
man.
know. I wouldn't challenge any kind of NDA signed.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing was when Ike Perlmutter and Kevin Feige were at odds,
Yep.
and then they end up kind of splitting it, Marvel Entertainment, Marvel Studios. I think that's kind of like the biggest thing that we've heard. But I feel like with DC, and it sucks. Like, I mean, I can't imagine being an executive at DC and getting an email like Hollywood Reporter ran with this, Variety ran with this, Deadline ran with this. I'm sure on their end as a studio, it's extremely frustrating.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
But
Of course
I'm
it is.
glad that Matt Reeves came out and cleared the win and just said,
I
this
think-
Batman is part of this universe.
I think also just as a fan, I think it would be awesome. Or I think one of the reasons a lot of this confusion happens is because there hasn't been like an official synopsis released yet
Yeah.
that just boop
Right.
squashes everything. Be like,
Right.
Matt Reeves is going to direct Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne / Batman in the Batman
official
release date,
release, yeah.
and here's the synopsis. It's like those things aren't happening. Those things haven't really happened for
Any
the
of their
movies that are in development right now that aren't Justice League and Aquaman, which is the only ones that are for sure coming out, and nothing has started shooting yet.
Those are the only two that are in post that are either filming or in post production.
Yeah.
Shazam is in pre-production.
Right.
David of Sandberg, it starts shooting in next year, and then Wonder Woman is actually the only movie that has a release date outside of that.
Yeah. So I think that if Warner Brothers were to do that, whether or not it changes down the line kind of doesn't matter, because it's like, yeah, it might change down the line. But I think if they were to do that, it seems like Disney does do that. And the other thing too is that Warner Brothers has had 2 movies out last year, 2 movies out this year, 1 movie out next year, and 1 movie came out in 2013, Man of Steel. Marvel has a few movies out each year, so that literally every press tour, it's Kevin Feige. It's the Marvel talking about the next thing, and that by then that synopsis has already come out. So it's just kind of like constant stream of information and like concrete information that isn't happening at Warner Brothers, because it's pre-production. They're figuring it out. So there's going to be confusion. There's going to be, you give us Flashpoint, and comic book fans are going to go, "Oh no, what?
Yeah, so soon.
We don't know what it's like," and it's wait and see. But then we're waiting and seeing.
Yeah,
you know,
that's really all we can do. All we can do is wait and see.
Tis the season to wait and see.
Yeah,
because we're still waiting for Justice League.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, again, you got to remember the only movies that are absolutely 100% coming out are Justice League and Aquaman.
Yeah,
obviously, Joss is finishing Justice League right now. James Wan's in the middle of Aquaman. David of Sandberg is so early on in the Shazam phase that like they have a script. He talked about how at one point Black Adam was in it, how now Black Adam is not in it. But
it could easily go the way of Gambit.
Nice transition.
Orale.
It's like I've been doing this for a while.
Hey, you guys caught up with Channing Tatum. He was on the red carpet. I don't remember what for. It must have been for Kingsman, something Kingsman related.
Maybe Logan Lucky? No, because that already came out.
No,
so it's probably
Logan
Kingsman.
Lucky. I'm pretty sure
you think
Logan
so?
Lucky. Yeah. It must have been Logan Lucky. But they asked him. They said, like, what's up with the Gambit movie? And he said, he revealed that they are starting from scratch. They're going back to square one.
He was like, the what?
Yeah,
the what movie?
Exactly. Going back to square one. And he said,
Hector. Bummer.
I was actually really happy with what he said, because what he says, because of the success of Deadpool and Logan, it kind of gave them a more eye-opening sort of approach to how they can do Gambit. Not necessarily doing rated R.
This could be good or bad. This could be good or bad.
Well, I think from what Channing was saying, it allows them to now kind of allow them more creativity.
More risks, sure.
More risk. And I think a lot of that comes from Deadpool and Logan, because 20th Century Fox wasn't necessarily on board with a Deadpool movie. I mean, it was the fans that convinced the studio to do it. Yeah. Now that they see how valuable it is, I think now they feel more comfortable letting Channing Tatum and the writers and the creators, whoever those people are, to go, okay, go tell the story that you want to tell.
Yep.
All right.
What are your thoughts on that, Hector? You don't seem as enthused.
Well, because it could be that. And we've been talking about a lot of silver linings in this episode, because that's
just reading the show, the silver linings.
Yeah. We got no choice. It's that. It's either it's all Schrodinger's cat right now. These things are either alive or dead. And the dead side of this thing is the studio's going, make it rated R, make it like either violent like Logan or cussy like Deadpool, or both.
Cussy.
Cussy. I don't know.
Like that. I like that word.
My mom likes that word too.
And when I think about Gambit, that stuff doesn't necessarily jump out to me.
Yeah.
I think that Gambit could work as PG-13. I think he could also work as R, but there's nothing that I'm seeing that, like, again, Deadpool and Logan, both, I totally 100%. If you pitch those movies to me, I go, those should probably be rated R.
Yeah.
I don't see a story needing to be pushed into that realm, and not just for violence or swearing or nudity but even just the mature subject matter that Logan had, the fact that they're dealing with death and getting older and looking back on your life and all these things that are just like not super PG-13 superhero movie. I feel like nothing's screaming out for like a Gambit. Gambit could be like a fun, like Southern New Orleans, like thief heist romp,
Ghost
sexy.
movie.
You lost me with Ghost movie.
It's haunted over there.
It's just like about a guy who's got special mutant powers, but it's about him coming up and learning how to do what he does. He's a rogue. He's like
Casey
Han
Affleck wearing
Solo.
a sheet going, well, I guess we're here.
So I don't know. It's not jumping out at me going like, but then again, the idea of a Gambit movie by himself.
Yeah, you've never been a fan of that.
He's always been the coolest guy on the team when there's a team,
When there is a team. I feel like I've run out of words to express how not satisfied I am with this movie. But this news coming out, I'm a fan of people going back and correcting their mistakes. Like second chances, even though we haven't even gotten a first chance, they're realizing that looking at movies like Logan and Deadpool, which were incredibly successful and great movies, especially Logan, like if that's your influence, Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
If they were going back and being like, well, we kind of like what they did on Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
You know, like we're gonna kind of no, nobody's gonna do that.
Yeah.
They're going back and they're looking at good influences, which is great. Which is, I think, how great things happen. Like some of my favorite music is inspired by music of the past.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the best movies are inspired by movies of the past, like La La Land. That was based off of everything that came before it.
Baby Driver. Yeah.
Baby Driver. Like all this stuff. So having this movie come back and look at good influences like these movies, I think it's a good idea. That being said, I'm not excited about this at all.
Well, they first announced that Gambit movie, I think it was at the 2014 Comic-Con panel.
Yeah,
We've
probably.
been talking about this for years, you guys.
Damn.
I think it was when
Years.
it must have been 20. When did Deadpool come out? 2016.
Yeah.
So it's 2015 then.
Yeah.
Because
Is that when Channing came out?
that's when Channing came out, and that's what they had like the entire cast from
X-Men Apocalypse?
X-Men Apocalypse. They had all the Deadpool actors. They had Gambit out there. So I don't know. It's like
We've been talking about this almost our entire YouTube careers.
yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. You are very right.
Yeah.
And it's gone through multiple directors. And I think
Right.
that's the biggest, most frustrating thing with a lot of these superhero movies is that these superhero movies go through scripts, they go through writers, they go through directors a lot. And I think that to some extent, some it's extreme, but like the Flash movie going through like 4 sets of directors is crazy. But I think this is something that is kind of like it happens a lot in the industry, but because it's superhero movies, because it's these huge, giant sort of juggernaut properties, it's under a microscope all the time.
Yeah. I mean, and you unfortunately are in a tough group of fans because we love this stuff and we're going to look at it under a microscope no matter what.
Exactly. Exactly. Speaking of changing directors, I feel like everything that we've covered has been all about like downer stories.
Yeah, dude, it's a bummer. Bummer week.
It's bummer week.
Oh man, this
Oh.
last story.
Yeah,
Oh.
we're talking about Michael K. Williams is apparently cut from the Han Solo movie. Obviously, because of the changing of directors from Lord and Miller, who were fired from the Han Solo movie in June. They were replaced by Ron Howard, who is now in London doing reshoots on the movie, trying to salvage what he can of the Han Solo movie. The movie is still slated to come out in May of next year, but Michael K. Williams apparently has been cut because he cannot make the reshoots. There's a lot of
It's a
reshoots
scheduling
happening.
thing, right?
Exactly.
He's shooting another movie?
He
Yeah.
says when Ron Howard got hired to finish out the film, there were some reshoot issues that need to be done in regards to my character, in order for which to match the new direction, which the producers wanted Ron to carry the film in. And that would have required me on a plane a month to go to London to Pinewood to do reshoots. But I'm here on location in Africa. It's scheduling. I'm not going to be back on the market until the end of November after Hap and Leonard. And for them to wait that long for me, that would have pushed back the release date, which I believe is in May 2018. They wanted me now. I couldn't go, so they had to clip. So yeah, it's a bummer. He also talks about the character that he plays. He plays a half human, half animal in the film, and that he says they created a really kick-ass character that he was proud of. But he does say that I don't think that me not being in the Star Wars family is final.
Yeah.
I left with a good taste in my mouth about the whole family, and I hope that I left a good taste in theirs as well. They're a great group of people, the Lucas family. Some
Yummy.
tasties. Some tasties.
That sounds.
Whose mouth he's
nice.
spinning?
He squeaked like a little dick joke in there. Like, what's he trying to say?
That's awesome.
Is that like an underhanded like nah really fuck them like nah? I mean stuff like this happens. It's unfortunate. I mean we're never really gonna know.
Yeah.
what
Well, that's the
is-
interesting
Unless it's on like
thing.
a deleted scene.
Yeah, that would be cool.
at
And
this
it might
point,
only
that's
be
what-
on a deleted scene only if they do plan to bring him back, either
Right.
for like a Han Solo 2 or for like another prequel, like maybe he'll be an Obi-Wan or something, or maybe
Maybe
even
they'll take the character and put him in episode 9.
put him episode 9. But like that would be weird. Like we didn't even see what's her name, Shailene Woodley's Mary Jane,
Right.
because I think they did not plan on bringing her back. So there was no deleted scene of hers on the Amazing
It's like
Spider-Man.
one shot
2
of her in the
Blu-ray.
trailer from behind.
Yeah. So like but I'm like the way that he's describing it, he seems like a rad dude. He seems like everybody liked what he did.
Yeah.
Because they want him to come back and do reshoots.
Yeah.
Right.
So scheduling, it sucks, but it happens.
Scheduling sucks, but it happens.
You know?
I mean, I think everything that we talk about tonight, it just goes to show how complicated, time-consuming, sort of
right.
all-encompassing the filmmaking
tough
process
To make
is.
a movie, y'all.
It's very
Really, really
difficult.
tough,
It doesn't
yeah.
matter how, even if you have all the money in the world like Lucasfilm and Disney
Yeah.
do, You can't get Michael K. Williams. He's in Africa shooting a movie. Schedules won't line up.
He's
you can have him in
literally
November.
a different country.
Shit out of luck.
You can have him in November, but at that point, you're going to be 5 months away from your movie having to be done.
Yeah.
Are you going to be able to make that happen? Probably not.
That's
Are
crazy.
you going to force episode 9? Episode 9 out of its release slot so you can move
For
the
an
Han
actor?
Solo movie?
Yeah, for a character.
Or just shift the release date? No, you
Or
probably already
just
have everything.
Clip.
Yeah, you probably have everything ready to go. So I think it is to their benefit to just say, I'm sorry we couldn't make it work, but
Sorry,
to
bro.
have him say that he feels like he will probably in some capacity be back, I think it's really exciting. And I think
What character do you play in Pencils and Parsecs, Hector?
Herg.
Herg, some half human, half animal.
Just a
hybrid?
full 9-foot tall cat.
With an axe?
you're a big pussy.
Yes, I have a vibro axe. That's right. Yes.
Vibro-axe, yeah.
Oh, you have a
That's right.
vibro axe, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, who'd you steal that from?
I like to vibrate it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sweet Lord Jesus.
I want to see that character.
Yeah, let's put him in Han Solo. Let's do
Yeah.
it. He'll
Let's
fight
do it.
Chewbacca to the death and die.
And
So
die
that
because
Chewbacca
it's
can be like,
yeah.
so Chewbacca can win and then be like, I'll be the sidekick.
Sorry, guy.
And the guy's like, oh, shit.
Oh my God. Guys, let us know in the comments below what you thought about all the stories that we covered. Are you excited about a DC Elseworlds cinematic universe?
And
Are you
what would
excited?
you what would you want to see in it?
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite
That's the most interesting
Elseworlds
question.
Who would you want
tale?
to see in it?
Or just something, a pitch?
Hector, you do realize that this makes the possibility of Kingdom Come that much more possible.
Oh, I know,
snap.
man. But
That's
again,
kinda
I would
exciting.
love it if they somehow got
Ben
Henry
Affleck,
Cavill, Ben Affleck
Gal
to just
Gadot.
old age, you
Yeah.
know. Yeah, man. Oh, but Gal, you don't have to old age her because Wonder Woman, she's eternally
She doesn't
beautiful.
age.
She had like a little strand of white in her hair. Like,
Oh,
that's
that
all.
would be dope.
Yeah, that would be dope.
Oh.
That would be dope.
But let us know how you feel about that. Let us know how you also feel about some of these new Joker movies that are coming out. Are you as confused about the DC Extended Universe timeline like most people kind of are? Let us know in the comments below. Be nice to each other down there. Let it be a safe haven. Make sure you guys join us on Sunday for Marvel's The
Yes.
Defenders watch along all day. We're all going to be here. Then, of course, tomorrow, if you're watching this on Friday, our monthly Hyperdrive Volume 4. A lot of good stuff. I am Groot.
Oh.
What is that?
Is that a
End
little tease-tease?
of credits?
Is that a little tease-tease?
End of credits?
Hector, where can everybody find you on the internet?
At Hector is Funny, and if you're watching this right now, you can check out Pencils and Parsecs tonight,
right.
9 p.m. I'll
really
be playing
like
a
that show,
9-foot tall cat creature named Herg. Thank you, Augustine.
Yeah,
That's awesome, man.
show.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
show.
Augie, where
You
can
can
people find
me
you?
everywhere. Santo Taco, not doing cool Star Wars stuff.
Did you put up
But it's
pictures of
okay.
Machu Picchu on your Instagram?
That's right. If you like adventure and travel stuff, I do that stuff.
You're a real life Han Solo.
Hell
Your real
yeah.
life
Hell yeah.
Bilbo Baggins, my friend.
Bilbo
Bilbo
Baggins.
Baggins. I will
That's right.
take that.
Yeah.
I will take that.
You just find me at Adam Havoc all over the interwebs, and also find us right here, HyperRPG, hyper_RPG on Twitter, Facebook.com/HyperRPG, of course, Instagram at HyperRPG, Twitch.tv/HyperRPG, every single week doing all that live content, and obviously right here on the YouTubes, Hyper Heroes, movie reviews, trailer reactions, all that good shit. We'll catch you guys in the next episode.